Hello and welcome to this video. In this video, we will start discussing about the second chapter of your history, that is from trade to territory, the company establishes power. Well, it is very much known to us that when for the first time the Britishers came to India, their motto was never to rule Indians. Their sole motto was to make trade with India and to make more and more profits. They only wanted to make trade with India and to earn profit. They never wanted to rule Indians. So in this chapter we will discuss that what are the regions that influence, that motivated, that tempted the Britishers to rule Indians. When the Britishers were not planned to rule India and only wanted to make trade, what situation tempted them to rule Indians, we will discuss in this chapter. First, we will discuss that how they got the permission to do trade with India, or who were the Indian ruler at that time who accepted their offer to make trade with India. If you remember the history from your class 7th, you must have ideas that there was a time when the Mughal were controlling a vast territory of Indian subcontinent, and there were several kings who were just ruling on behalf of the Mughals, means they surrendered themselves to the authority of the Mughal and they were just ruling their state on behalf of the Mughal, where the Mughal remained as the supreme power and the king of the locality. They were just contributing their power to help the Mughal to control that territory as well. So at that time, when the East Indian Company or the Britishers first came to India in order to make trade, at that time the last successful Mughal ruler was Aurangzeb. At that time, the Mughal ruler who was controlling the Indian subcontinent was Aurangzeb, and Aurangzeb was the last successful Mughal ruler. After Aurangzeb, his successors were not so powerful and they were very inefficient. So after Aurangzeb, the Mughal power started declining. The later rulers proved to be inefficient and foreign power got opportunity to establish their rule in India. So after Aurangzeb, when the Mughal power started getting fragile, the outside power, here outside power means the British power, as well as the other kings started rising. Like in your class 7th history, we already studied that when the Mughal power started declining, many local kings started taking up the power, like the Rajputs. So when the Mughal power started declining after Aurangzeb, many outsider, means many Indian king who were not Mughals, as well as the foreign power like the Britishers, they started capturing power and establishing their supremacy over the Indian subcontinent. Let's now discuss that how the East India Company got the right and came to India in order to make trade. In 1600, the Royal Charter granted to East India Company, granting the sole right to trade with the East. You must have heard the term Western countries and Eastern countries. Western countries or West countries means those countries which are located in the Western hemisphere of the globe, and East country or Eastern countries means those countries which are located in the Eastern hemisphere or the eastern half of the globe. So East means countries like India, Pakistan, China, Japan, etc. So here East is referring to particularly Indian subcontinent, and at that time the Indian subcontinent also included the parts of Bangladesh, Pakistan, etc. At that time the Indian subcontinent was not like the modern day India. The modern India formed after its independence when it gets separated from Pakistan and Bangladesh. So at that time, Indian subcontinent was much more vast areas. During 1600, many British company wanted to make trade with India, but the East India Company successfully got the right from the British crown. As you must have idea that the British people, even in current time also, the British territory are ruled by the monarchical system. You must have heard about Queen Elizabeth. So, the East India Company got the right to do trade with Indian subcontinent from its royal charter. The East India Company brought goods at cheap price and sold them at higher price in Europe. The main trade of East India Company was to brought things from Indian subcontinent and taking them back to their homeland, and then they were selling them at higher price. In that way they were making huge profit because the Indian products like the cotton textile of India, the silk textile of India, the spices of Indian subcontinent had a huge demand not only in England but also in other European countries like France, Portugal, etc. So in that time, all over the world, the Indian products like the cotton textile, silk textile, and spices had a great demand. So the main trade of East India Company was to brought things from Indian market and taking them back to their homeland and selling them at a higher price. In that way, they were making huge profit. And because of the demand of the products of Indian subcontinent, many company wanted to come to India in order to make trade and to earn more profit. But somehow the East India Company got the right from the royal family to make trade with India. Cotton and silk produced in India had a big market in Europe, along with the spices of India, and mainly spices like pepper, cloves, cardamom, cinnamon, etc. Well, as you must have some idea that not all kind of vegetation can flourish in all kind of climates. Certain vegetation requires some specific kind of climatic condition in order to get flourish, and because of the temperate climatic condition of India, spices grow very well in Indian climate. So the Indian spices had a great demand all over the world. And the East India Company also trading with India with its cotton and silk textile and spices. English East India Company had to compete with other European companies such as French, Dutch and Portuguese. Well, among the English companies, the East India Company got the right to make trade with India, but it had to compete with other traders like the French trader, the Dutch trader, the Portuguese trader. They were also doing trade with India. The Portuguese establishes their presence in the western coast of India and got their base in Goa. At that time, when East India Company was also trading with India, the Portuguese were very successfully establishes their trade with India, and even they had set up their base at Goa. The urge to secure markets led to fierce battles among French, Dutch, Portuguese, and East India Company. And as there were several traders and everyone wanted to maximize their profit, battle between them get started. The French, Dutch, Portuguese, and the English East India Company, they fight among themselves in order to establish their monopoly over the Indian market. When there are more number of buyers, then the seller can decide the price. But if there are less number of buyer and more number of seller, then the buyer can decide the price. The Indians or the Indian traders were the sole supplier of all these products, but the number of buyers are more. The English East India Company wanted those products, the French wanted those products, the Dutch wanted those products, the Portuguese wanted those products. So in that way, the Indian traders were making a huge profit, and as the number of buyers were more, the profit of all these French, Dutch, Portuguese and East Indian Company was not so much. So they wanted to remove one another, and they wanted their single right, their monopoly over the Indian trade. And in order to secure that, they fight among themselves. And in that war, because of good naval power, naval means the at that time the transportation were not so developed, there were not so airways or roadways communication. So the foreigners or the people from different continent were visiting other continent through ships, right? So because of a strong naval power, the British means the East India Company won the battle, and he successfully removed the French trader, Dutch trader and the Portuguese trader gradually from Indian market. And in that way, the East India Company remained as the sole trader with Indian merchant. So when the East India Company successfully removed its competitor, it established its base near the Hooghly River of Calcutta and the Surat. Well, the Portuguese had their base near the Goa here. But when East India Company started establishing its base, it established its base near the Hooghly River of West Bengal and the Surat of Gujarat. In 1651, the first English factory was set up on the bank of river Hooghly, and first English factory was opened up at Surat in 1608, as we discussed. The company asked merchants and traders to settle around the company, and the company asked the Indian trader who were making trade with the East India Company means to settle near its base in near the Hooghly River and the Surat. Then, after the merchants settling around its base, it started building fort around the settlement in 1696. First, it established its base in Indian subcontinent. Next step, it asked the Indian trader to settle around it. Then, it built fort around the settlement, and then the company bribed the Mughal officials to pass zamindari rights of 3 villages to them, among which Kalikata was one, which later grew into Calcutta, which is present day's Kolkata. So the greed of East India Company to earn more and more profit never ended. After constructing fort around the settlement of Indian trader, it wanted the zamindari right of 3 villages. And you must have idea about zamindari system. What is the role of zamindars? The zamindars collect revenue from the area that is under their control. So the East India Company bribed Mughal officials to pass the zamindari right of 3 important villages to them, and in that way they planned to collect revenue and earn more and more profit, and to use that revenue for their profit. And among the 3 important villages which zamindari right they wanted, one was Kalikata, which later grew as Calcutta, and nowadays Calcutta known as Kolkata. So they wanted the zamindari rights of Kalikata along with other 2 important villages. So the East India Company initially came to India in order to make trade, and gradually it removes all its competitor, then settle its base, then asks the Indian trader to settle around it, started making fort, and now it wanted the zamindari rights also. Then Aurangzeb, who was at that time ruling the Indian subcontinent as a successful Mughal ruler, he issued a farman, means a notice or a grant. He issued a farman granting the company the right to trade duty free by request of the East India Company. They wanted to make trade without paying any duty, means without paying any tax to the royal. They wanted the zamindari right, and they do not want to pay extra charges also. They themselves not interested to pay revenue, rather they wanted to collect the revenue of Indian people and to use that revenue for their own profit. See how they are gradually extending their power. Then the company tried to press for more concession and manipulate existing privileges, and they not stopped there. After getting the right to do trade without paying revenue, they wanted more and more privilege now. And after some times, for trading purpose obviously, the official of East India Company got some passes to do trade with India. But because of their greedy nature, because of their greed to earn more profit, they use those passes not for the benefit of the company but for the benefit, for the profit of their own. And in that way, the East India Company started facing losses. And in order to cure that situation, in order to cure the loss faced by the East India Company, the British government made strict rule. And because of their greed, the East India Company itself making huge profit from Indian subcontinent but was not paying the part of profit to the British government. So the British government decided to control the greediness, the profit of its official, and to do that the British government started implementing strict rules. So next we will discuss that how the British government controlled the East India Company and how they established their power over Indian subcontinent. That's all about this video. Thank you.